Stop, my beloved. Do not scroll past this message. This is not a coincidence. Out of the millions of videos you could have found, out of the countless messages you could have heard, you landed here, right here, in this exact moment. Do you think that happened by accident? I need you to understand something. While you were going through your days wondering if anything was changing, while you were questioning whether your prayers were reaching heaven, while you were struggling with doubts that whispered maybe God has forgotten about you, I was working. Every single moment. Without pause. Without rest. Without forgetting you for even 1 second. There is something I am about to reveal to you in this message that will change everything. A truth so powerful that when you hear it, the chains that have held you will begin to crack. But I need you to stay until the very end. Because the breakthrough you have been waiting for is connected to what you are about to hear. I know exactly who you are. I know the weight you carry that you have not told anyone about. I know the prayer you have prayed so many times you have lost count. And I know the secret fear that maybe, just maybe, you have been overlooked. But here is what you do not know. I have been working while you were unaware. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You have spent so many seasons feeling like you were stuck, like nothing was moving, like life had put you on pause while everyone else seemed to be advancing. You have watched others receive their breakthroughs while you waited. You have celebrated their victories while secretly wondering when your turn would come. And in those quiet moments when no one was watching, you have cried tears that only I have seen. I want you to know something about those tears. Not a single one was wasted. Not a single one fell to the ground without being collected by my hand. Every tear you have ever cried in frustration, in loneliness, in desperation, I have kept them all. They are precious to me. And they have been watering seeds that you did not even know were planted. Here is what you could not see during those difficult seasons. While you were feeling stuck, I was building your foundation. While you were feeling forgotten, I was arranging divine connections that have not yet been revealed. While you were feeling weak, I was strengthening parts of you that you did not even know existed. You thought nothing was happening because you could not see the evidence. But I work in the invisible realm before I manifest in the visible. Think about it this way. When a farmer plants a seed, there is a season where nothing appears to be happening above ground. The soil looks the same. The field looks empty. Someone walking by might think the farmer wasted his time. But beneath the surface, something miraculous is taking place. Roots are forming. Structure is developing. Life is organizing itself in ways that cannot be seen but are absolutely real. Your life has been like that field, and I have been the one tending it while you were unaware. Let me reveal something to you about what has been happening beneath the surface of your circumstances. There is a network of divine activity that you cannot perceive with your natural senses. Angels have been dispatched on assignments that relate directly to your future. Conversations have been taking place in heaven about you. Strategies have been developed for your breakthrough. Resources have been positioned along your path. All of this has been happening while you were focused on what seemed to be going wrong. I want you to understand the complexity of what I am orchestrating. It is not simple. It is not just one thing happening at a time. Multiple threads are being woven together simultaneously. What happens in your finances is connected to what happens in your relationships. What happens in your health is connected to what happens in your purpose. What happens in your family is connected to what happens in your calling. I see all the connections. I understand how each piece affects the others, and I am working on all of them at once. This is why you cannot figure it out on your own. The scope of what I am doing is beyond human comprehension. You see one piece of the puzzle and you try to make it fit somewhere, but you do not have the picture on the box. You do not know what the finished puzzle looks like. I do, and I am placing each piece in exactly the right position at exactly the right time. There are people connected to your destiny that you have never met. Some of them are thinking about you right now without knowing why. There are doors that have been locked for years that I am in the process of unlocking. The keys are turning as you hear these words. There are resources that have been allocated in the spiritual realm that are making their way to you in the natural realm. You cannot see them yet, but they exist. They are real, and they are coming. I need to take you deeper now, beyond the surface, beyond the struggles that everyone sees. I want to speak to the parts of you that you have hidden from the world. You have been carrying something heavy, not the kind of weight that shows on the outside, but the kind that sits deep in your soul. It is the weight of disappointment, the weight of dreams that did not come true in the time frame you expected, the weight of relationships that did not turn out the way you hoped, the weight of words spoken over you that cut deeper than any physical wound ever could. I know about all of it. There is nothing hidden from my sight. I have watched you put on a brave face in public while crumbling in private. I have seen you smile at others while your heart was breaking inside. I have observed you encouraging other people while secretly wondering who would encourage you. The contradiction between your external presentation and your internal reality has not escaped my notice. And I want you to know that I am not disappointed in you for struggling. I am not angry that you have had doubts. I am not frustrated that your faith has wavered. I understand the human condition better than anyone. I know that you are made from dust. I know that you have limitations. I know that the pressures of life sometimes feel overwhelming. None of this surprises me, and none of it changes how I feel about you. What does touch my heart is your persistence. Despite everything you have been through, you are still here. Despite the pain, you are still listening. Despite the disappointments, you have not completely given up. That persistence is precious to me. It shows me the quality of your character. It reveals that you have more strength than you give yourself credit for. I know about the promise that was broken, the one that changed how you trust people. I know about the betrayal that came from someone you never expected to hurt you. I know about the failure that you replay in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently. I know about the opportunity that slipped through your fingers and the regret that followed. But here's what I need you to understand. None of those experiences were wasted. I have been using every single one of them. The disappointments taught you compassion for others who are disappointed. The broken promises taught you the value of a God who always keeps his word. The betrayal taught you to place your ultimate trust in the one who will never abandon you. The failure taught you humility that will protect you when success comes. You see, I do not waste anything. Not your pain, not your waiting, not your tears, not your questions, not even your doubts. I take every ingredient of your life, the bitter and the sweet, and I am cooking something magnificent. The recipe requires all of it, and when the final dish is served, you will understand why every ingredient was necessary. There is something else I need to address. Something you have been afraid to even think about because it feels too vulnerable. It is a dream that lives in the deepest part of your heart. A dream so precious that you have protected it by pretending it does not exist. You are afraid that if you acknowledge it fully, the pain of it not coming true would be unbearable. I put that dream there. It was not random. It was not a mistake. It was not wishful thinking that you need to grow out of. That dream is a seed of destiny that I planted in your heart before you were even born. And while you have been trying to ignore it or suppress it or convince yourself it is impossible, I have been cultivating the conditions for it to bloom. The reason it has not happened yet is not because it will never happen. It is because you were not ready. The dream was ready, but you needed more preparation, more character development, more spiritual maturity, more of the refining that only comes through waiting. But here's the good news. The preparation season is coming to an end. What I planted is about to break through the soil. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who dreamed of building something significant. He had the vision clearly in his mind. He could see every detail of what he wanted to create. But year after year, obstacles prevented him from starting. First, he lacked resources. Then, he lacked connections. Then, life circumstances pulled his attention in other directions. He began to wonder if the dream had been foolish all along. What this man did not understand was that during those waiting years, I was training him. Every obstacle taught him problem-solving skills he would need later. Every lack of resources taught him creativity and faith. Every delay positioned him to meet people who would become essential to his success. The waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. One day, everything shifted. Seemingly out of nowhere, resources appeared. Connections materialized. Doors that had been locked swung open without him even knocking. And when he finally built what he had dreamed of, it was far greater than his original vision, because he had become far greater than his original self. This story is your story. You are that person. And the shift is approaching faster than you think. But wait. There is something important I need to address before we go further. I can sense the resistance in some of you. The part of you that wants to believe, but is afraid to hope. The part that has been hurt before by words that did not come true. The part that is protecting itself from another disappointment by not fully receiving what I am saying. I understand that resistance. I do not condemn you for it. But I need you to know something about how I operate. My words are not like human words. When a person makes a promise, there are countless variables that could prevent them from keeping it. They might change their mind. Their circumstances might change. They might not have the power to deliver what they promised. They might forget. They might die. Human promises are fragile things, but when I speak, it is different. My words carry the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. When I say light be, light appears. When I say let there be life, life emerges. When I say I am working on your behalf, that working becomes reality. I do not speak empty words. I do not make promises I cannot keep. I do not say things just to make you feel better. Every word I speak is backed by my infinite power, my perfect knowledge, and my unchanging nature. So when I tell you that I have been working while you were unaware, that is not wishful thinking. That is not spiritual positive talk. That is reality. That is the truth of what has been happening in the invisible realm. And what happens in the invisible realm eventually manifests in the visible realm. The preparation is almost complete. The table has been set. The pieces are nearly in position. What you are about to step into has been years in the making, and it will be worth everything you have been through to reach it. Now I want to speak to some specific things that have been troubling you. Things you have prayed about so often that the prayers feel worn out. Things you have almost given up on because the answer seems so far away. Regarding your finances, I want you to know that lack is not your permanent address. It is a temporary location. A stopping point on the journey, not the destination. I have seen how you have struggled to make ends meet. I have watched you calculate and recalculate, trying to figure out how to stretch what you have. I have observed your stress about bills and your anxiety about the future. And I want you to know, provision is on its way to you. But here is something important to understand. The provision I am sending is not just about money. It is about freedom. Financial freedom that will allow you to be generous like you have always wanted to be. It is about security that will let you focus on purpose instead of survival. It is about resources that will enable you to be a blessing to others who are struggling the way you have struggled. What is coming to you financially will not just change your bank account. It will change your capacity to impact lives. This is why the timing had to be right. If the provision had come before you were ready, you might have used it differently than I intended. But you have been prepared. Your character has been developed. Your heart has been tested. And now, the provision can be trusted in your hands. Let me tell you a story about provision that illustrates how I work. There was once a woman who had been praying for financial breakthrough for years. She was faithful with what she had, but what she had was never quite enough. Month after month, she scraped by. She wondered if her prayers were even reaching heaven. She wondered if she would ever experience the abundance she read about in Scripture. What she did not know was that I was orchestrating something significant. During those years of lack, I was positioning relationships. I was developing her skills. I was building her reputation for integrity. I was creating a foundation that would eventually support a much larger structure than she could have imagined. One day, an opportunity came to her that was bigger than anything she had ever encountered. Someone who had observed her faithfulness for years offered her a position that would change her financial situation dramatically. This opportunity did not fall from the sky randomly. It came through relationships that had been built during the waiting period. It came through skills that had been developed while she was struggling. It came through a reputation that had been established in the small things. Looking back, she could see the wisdom in the timing. If the opportunity had come earlier, she would not have been ready. She would not have had the skills to succeed in it. She would not have had the relationships to sustain it. She would not have had the character to handle it. The waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. Here is what I want you to understand. Your financial breakthrough is connected to more than just money. It is connected to a larger plan that requires specific timing. When the provision comes, and it will come in the context of purpose. It will come connected to calling. It will come as part of something bigger than just meeting your needs. Trust my timing. I know what I'm doing. Regarding your health, I am aware of every concern, every symptom that worries you, every diagnosis that frightens you, every ache and pain that makes you wonder about your future. My child, I formed your body. I know every cell, every system, every function. And I am the same God who spoke the universe into existence. The same power that created everything from nothing is available for your restoration. I am not promising that you will never face health challenges. What I am promising is that you will never face them alone. I am with you in the doctor's office. I am with you during the tests. I am with you when you are lying awake at night worrying. And my presence is not passive, it is active. I am working in your body even now, bringing alignment to what has been out of alignment, bringing healing to what has been damaged, bringing wholeness to what has been fragmented. Trust my timing with your health. Sometimes healing is instant. Sometimes it is gradual. Sometimes it comes through medical means, and sometimes it defies medical explanation. The method is my choice. The healing is my promise. Your job is simply to trust that I know what I am doing in your body. Let me speak to those of you who have been dealing with chronic conditions. You have been carrying this burden for so long that you have almost stopped believing it could change. The doctors have given you their assessments. The tests have shown their results. The prognosis seems fixed. And you have resigned yourself to managing the condition rather than hoping for healing. I want to challenge that resignation. Not to create false hope, but to create accurate hope. There are things that are impossible with human medicine that are not impossible with me. There are conditions that have no human cure, that respond to divine intervention. There are situations that look permanent in the natural realm that can be changed in a moment by supernatural power. I am not saying that every person will be healed of every condition in this lifetime. Some battles are fought differently. Some victories are won in different ways. But I am saying that you should not limit your expectation based on what doctors have said. Their knowledge is valuable but incomplete. Their expertise is helpful, but not ultimate. I have the final word on your body, not any human professional. Stay open to the unexpected. Stay available for the miraculous. Do not let past disappointments with healing close you off to future possibilities. I am still the God who heals. I have not lost my power. I have not forgotten how to restore bodies. And I have not stopped caring about your physical well-being. Regarding your relationships, this is an area where I have been doing significant work while you were unaware. Some relationships in your life have felt strained or broken or distant. Some connections that you valued have seemed to deteriorate despite your best efforts, and you have wondered if you did something wrong or if you are simply destined to be lonely. Here is the truth. I have been rearranging your relational landscape. Some people needed to move out of your inner circle because they were assigned to a previous season, not the season you are entering. Their departure was not rejection, it was completion. The role they were meant to play in your life had been fulfilled, and holding on to them would have prevented both of you from growing. At the same time, I have been positioning new relationships that are aligned with your future. People who will understand your vision. People who will support your purpose. People who will sharpen you and challenge you and celebrate with you. These connections are not random. They are divine appointments that I have been orchestrating while you were focused on what seemed to be missing. The loneliness you have felt has not been wasted either. It has created space in your heart for the right people. It has taught you to value genuine connection over superficial interaction. It has prepared you to receive the relationships I am sending without taking them for granted. Let me speak specifically to some of you about family relationships. There has been distance between you and people who share your blood. Conversations have become surface level. Gatherings have become awkward. Perhaps there was a falling out that was never fully resolved. Perhaps there was simply a drifting apart that happened gradually over years. Whatever the cause, the disconnection pains you more than you admit. I am working in this area too. Some family relationships will be restored in ways that will surprise you. Walls that have stood for years will begin to crumble. Hearts that have been hardened will begin to soften. Conversations that seemed impossible will become natural. I am not promising that every family relationship will be perfect, but I am promising that I am actively working to bring healing where there has been hurt. For some of you, the breakthrough in family will begin with you. You will need to take the first step. You will need to extend the olive branch. You will need to be the bigger person even when it feels unfair. This is not weakness. It is strength. This is not letting the other person win. It is choosing relationship over being right. As you step toward restoration, you will find that I have already been preparing the other person to receive you. There is another area of relationships I want to address. For those of you who are single and longing for partnership, I see your desire. It is not wrong to want companionship. It is not weak to wish for someone to share life with. I created humans for connection. I said it is not good for man to be alone. Your desire for a partner is not unspiritual. It is deeply human. But here is what I need you to understand. The right relationship at the wrong time can be just as problematic as the wrong relationship at any time. Timing matters. Readiness matters. If I were to bring your partner to you before either of you were ready, the relationship would not flourish the way I intend it to. What looks like delay is actually protection. What feels like waiting is actually preparation. I am working on you. I am working on them. I am working on the circumstances that will bring you together. Trust my timing. The story I am writing for your love life is better than anything you could write for yourself. Wait. Stop for a moment. I need you to hear this part clearly. What I am about to tell you is something that the enemy does not want you to receive. There are forces that have been working to keep you in discouragement. Voices that have been whispering that nothing will ever change. Thoughts that have been suggesting that your best days are behind you. These are lies. Strategic lies designed to make you give up right before your breakthrough. The enemy knows what is coming for you. He has seen the plans I have made. He understands that if you step into what I have prepared, you will become a powerful force for good in this world. That is why he has been working so hard to make you quit. Every attack of depression you have faced has been an attempt to stop your advancement. Every wave of anxiety has been a strategy to paralyze you. Every lie about your worth has been an effort to disqualify you from your inheritance. But here is what the enemy does not control: me. He does not control my plans. He does not control my timing. He does not control my resources. He does not control my power. And most importantly, he does not control you when you are in my hands. You belong to me. You are protected by me. You are empowered by me. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can separate you from my love. I want to speak to the nature of spiritual warfare for a moment, because many believers misunderstand it. The battle is real, but the victory is already won. At the cross, the decisive battle was fought and won. The enemy was defeated, not potentially defeated, not maybe defeated, but actually and completely defeated. What remains now is not the question of whether he will ultimately lose, that is settled, but the question of how much territory he can steal before his final end. This changes how you should approach spiritual warfare. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. You are not trying to win a war that hangs in the balance. You are enforcing a victory that has already been secured. This is a crucial distinction. When you understand it, you stop fighting with fear and start fighting with authority. The enemy wants you to believe that the outcome is uncertain. He wants you to think that your destiny hangs in the balance. He wants you to live as though you could ultimately lose. But that is a lie. You cannot ultimately lose if you are in my hands. Your eternal security is certain. Your final victory is guaranteed. The only question is how much of that victory you will experience in this lifetime. And that depends on how much you will claim by faith and obedience. So engage in the battle, but engage from a place of security rather than fear. Resist the enemy, but resist from a place of authority rather than anxiety. Stand firm against his attacks, but stand knowing that he is already defeated and his time is limited. This is how warriors of faith fight, not from desperation, but from dominion. Now I want to take you into a revelation that will shift how you see everything. It concerns this idea that I have been working while you were unaware. Most people think of spiritual activity as something that happens only when they are conscious of it. When they are praying, they believe I am working. When they are worshiping, they feel my presence. When they are reading scripture, they sense my guidance. And all of that is true. But here is what many people miss. I never stop working. My activity on your behalf does not depend on your awareness of it. I am not limited to the moments when you are spiritually focused. I am working when you are distracted. I am working when you are discouraged. I am working when you are sleeping. I am working when you have forgotten to pray. I am working when your faith feels weak. I am working when you are not sure you believe at all. This is who I am. I am the God who never sleeps and never slumbers. I am the God who holds all things together by the word of my power. I am the God who knows the end from the beginning. And I am the God who has been actively engaged in your story, every single moment of your existence. Let me give you an example of what this looks like in practical terms. Do you remember a time when something bad almost happened to you, but it did not? Maybe you were almost in an accident. Maybe you almost made a decision that would have been disastrous. Maybe you almost connected with the wrong person. Maybe you almost missed an opportunity. In those moments, something redirected the situation. Something protected you. Something guided you toward a better outcome. That was me working when you did not know I was working. There have been hundreds, thousands of these interventions in your life. Moments when I blocked what would have harmed you. Moments when I opened what needed to be opened. Moments when I spoke to someone else's heart on your behalf. Moments when I shifted circumstances in ways you will never fully comprehend. You have been protected more than you know. You have been guided more than you realize. You have been blessed more than you can count. And here is what is remarkable. All of this happened while you thought nothing was happening. While you were feeling stuck, I was moving mountains. While you were feeling forgotten, I was remembering every detail of your life. While you were feeling weak, I was defeating enemies you did not even know existed. Let me tell you about one particular intervention that you may remember, even though you did not understand it at the time. There was a moment when you felt strongly that you should not go somewhere or not do something. You could not explain why. It was just a feeling, a check in your spirit, a hesitation that did not make logical sense, but you listened to it. You changed your plans, and you never knew what you avoided. That was me speaking to you. That was my spirit guiding you away from danger. That was protection operating through intuition. And what you avoided that day was far worse than anything you imagined. The path you did not take would have led to disaster. The situation you stepped away from would have harmed you in ways you would still be recovering from. This happens more often than you realize. Quiet nudges, unexplained hesitations, sudden changes of heart. These are not random neurological firings. They are divine communications. I am constantly speaking to you, guiding you, steering you toward what is best and away from what would harm you. The question is whether you are listening. Some of you have become so busy, so distracted, so overwhelmed with the noise of daily life that you have difficulty hearing my still small voice. You are not bad people. You are not rebellious. You are simply overloaded. There is so much competing for your attention that the quiet whisper of my spirit gets drowned out. I want to invite you into more stillness, not as a religious duty, but as a practical pathway to guidance. When you create space for silence, you create space for me to speak. When you slow down enough to listen, you position yourself to hear what I have been trying to say. The most important conversations between us will not happen when you are rushing from one task to the next. They will happen when you are still enough to perceive what I am communicating. This should change how you feel about the seasons that seem quiet. The seasons when you do not sense my presence as strongly as you would like. The seasons when prayers seem to echo without response. The seasons when waiting feels unbearable. These are not seasons of my absence. They are seasons of invisible activity. I am always working, always. Now let me speak to a fear that lives in the back of your mind. It is the fear that you are running out of time. The fear that opportunities have passed you by. The fear that you have made too many mistakes to recover from. The fear that your age, or your circumstances, or your history have disqualified you from anything significant. This fear is a liar. I am the God who specializes in redemption. There is nothing in your past that I cannot transform. There is no mistake so great that my grace cannot cover it. There is no amount of time wasted that I cannot restore. I am able to give you back the years that the locusts have eaten. I am able to do more in a moment than you could accomplish in a decade of human effort. Let me speak about this redemption in more detail because it is one of my favorite things to do. Redemption is taking something that was broken and making it beautiful. It is taking something that was lost and restoring it to its purpose. It is taking something that was destroyed and rebuilding it stronger than before. This is my specialty. This is what I love to do. Look at your story. Look at all the broken pieces, the failed relationships, the missed opportunities, the wasted years, the poor decisions, the painful consequences. From your perspective, these look like unredeemable losses. You look at them and see only regret and grief. But when I look at your story, I see raw materials for redemption. I see broken pieces that can be reassembled into something beautiful. I see losses that can be transformed into lessons. I see pain that can be converted into purpose. Nothing is wasted in my economy. Nothing is unredeemable in my hands. The very things you are most ashamed of, those are often the things I will use most powerfully. Your greatest failures become your most profound testimonies. Your deepest wounds become your most effective ministry to others. The areas where you have been broken become the places where my light shines brightest through you. So stop hiding your brokenness. Stop pretending you have it all together. Stop trying to present a polished version of yourself that does not match reality. Your authenticity about your struggles is what will connect you with others who are struggling. Your honesty about your failures is what will give hope to those who have failed. Your transparency about your redemption is what will point others to the one who can redeem them too. Think about some of the people I have used throughout history. Moses was 80 years old when I called him to lead my people out of Egypt. Abraham was 75 when I called him to become the father of nations. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to the child of promise. These were not young people at the beginning of their journeys. These were seasoned individuals who had lived through failures and disappointments and seasons of waiting. Their greatest purpose was fulfilled not at the beginning of their lives, but in their later years. This should tell you something. I am not bound by human timelines. I am not limited by biological clocks. I am not restricted by calendars or schedules or expectations about what is supposed to happen at what age. If you are breathing, you are not too late. If you are hearing these words, you are not disqualified. If you are sensing something stirring in your spirit, that is me confirming that your story is not over. It is just entering a new chapter. There is another story I want to share with you. It is the story of a seed that was planted in harsh soil. The conditions were not ideal. The weather was not perfect. By all accounts, this seed should not have survived. Every expert looking at the situation would have predicted its failure. But there was something inside that seed that the experts did not account for. There was life. Divine life. Life that does not depend on perfect conditions. Life that finds a way even when circumstances say there is no way. Life that pushes through obstacles and defies expectations. That seed began to grow. Slowly at first. Facing resistance at every stage. The soil fought against it. The weather opposed it. Other plants tried to crowd it out. But it kept growing. It kept pushing. It kept reaching toward the light. And one day, that seed became a tree. Not just any tree, but a mighty oak that provided shade for generations. Birds nested in its branches. People rested under its covering. What began in hostile conditions became a source of blessing for countless others. You are that seed. The conditions of your life have not been ideal. The circumstances you have faced have been challenging. By human assessment, the odds have been against you. But there is something inside you that human assessment cannot measure. There is divine life. There is supernatural potential. There is destiny that does not depend on perfect conditions. You are going to grow into something far greater than your current circumstances suggest. The resistance you have faced has only made you stronger. The obstacles have only made you more determined. The challenges have only prepared you for the magnitude of what is coming. Do not let anyone tell you that your difficult beginning disqualifies you from a magnificent ending. I specialize in writing beautiful stories with challenging first chapters. The contrast between where you started and where you will finish will be part of your testimony. It will prove that I am the God who makes all things new. Let me rest with you here for a moment. I know I have been sharing a lot, and some of what you are hearing may be stirring deep emotions. That is okay. Let those emotions come. Do not fight them. Do not suppress them. Let them flow. You are safe with me. I want you to know that I am not a God who demands constant performance. I do not require you to be strong all the time. I do not expect you to have perfect faith or flawless obedience or unwavering confidence. I know you are human. I know you have limits. I know there are days when you cannot give anything more than what you have already given. And on those days, especially on those days, I am gentle with you. I want to say something to those of you who have been hard on yourselves, who have been your own harshest critic, who have beaten yourself up over every mistake and every failure, who have spoken words over yourself that you would never speak over someone you loved. This self-condemnation needs to stop. You are not doing me any favors by tearing yourself down. I do not want you walking around in shame and self-loathing, thinking that this honors me somehow. It does not. It grieves me. Because I see you through the lens of love, and when you speak hatred over yourself, you are contradicting what I see and who I say you are. Yes, there is a place for recognizing sin and confessing it. Yes, there is a place for repentance and turning from wrong paths. But there is a massive difference between godly conviction and ungodly condemnation. Conviction is specific. It points to the thing that needs to change. Condemnation is general. It attacks your entire identity and worth. Conviction leads to freedom. It shows you the path forward. Condemnation leads to bondage. It keeps you stuck in shame. When my spirit convicts you, it always comes with hope. It always comes with a sense that change is possible. It always leads toward restoration rather than destruction. If what you are feeling does not have hope in it, if it just makes you feel worthless and hopeless, then it is not from me. It is from the enemy who wants to keep you paralyzed. Learn to distinguish my voice from the voice of the accuser. My voice builds up even while it corrects. The accuser's voice only tears down. My voice offers a way forward. The accuser's voice says, "There is no way out." My voice speaks your true identity. The accuser's voice speaks lies about who you are. Stop partnering with the voice of the accuser. Stop agreeing with condemnation that is not from me. When those thoughts come, the ones that tell you that you are worthless, that you will never change, that you have messed up too badly, recognize where they are coming from and reject them. Replace them with what I say about you. Speak my words over yourself instead of the enemy's words. My love for you is not based on what you do. It is based on who you are. And who you are is my beloved child. You were chosen before the foundation of the world. You were known before time began. You were loved before you ever drew your first breath. And nothing you do or fail to do can change that fundamental reality. So rest. Rest in the knowledge that you do not have to earn my favor. Rest in the assurance that you do not have to perform for my acceptance. Rest in the truth that you are loved exactly as you are, not as you think you should be. There is so much striving in the world, so much pressure to achieve and accomplish and succeed, so much comparison with others who seem to be doing more or having more or being more. But in my presence, all of that fades away. In my presence, you can simply be. You can exhale. You can let go of the burden of trying to prove your worth. You are worthy because I made you. Period. I want to expand on this idea of rest because it is so counter to what the world teaches. The world tells you that your value is determined by your productivity. It measures success by achievement. It celebrates those who work the hardest and accomplish the most. And while there is nothing wrong with hard work and accomplishment, the world has distorted these things into measurements of human worth. But in my kingdom, the math is different. Your worth is not calculated by what you produce. Your value is not determined by what you achieve. Your significance is not measured by how much you accomplish. You are significant because you exist. You are valuable because I made you. You are worthy because you are mine. This means you can rest without guilt. You can take a breath without feeling like you are falling behind. You can have days where you do not accomplish very much and still be fully accepted and loved by me. The Sabbath rest I instituted was not just a religious ritual. It was a statement about human value. You are not machines designed for endless productivity. You are beloved children designed for relationship. Some of you have been pushing so hard for so long that you have forgotten how to rest. The concept feels foreign. Even when your body is still, your mind is racing ahead to the next task, the next problem, the next challenge. You have become addicted to activity because stillness feels uncomfortable. I am inviting you into a different rhythm. A rhythm that includes work, but also rest. Effort, but also ease. Striving, but also stillness. This is not about becoming lazy or irresponsible. It is about becoming whole. It is about living in the balance I designed you for. When you learn to rest in me, something remarkable happens. You actually become more productive, not less. The quality of your work improves. Your creativity flows more freely. Your decisions become wiser. The rest empowers the work rather than competing with it. Trust me on this. I designed the system. I know how it works best. Now I want to take you into the next revelation. This one concerns your purpose, the reason you exist, the contribution you are meant to make, the impact you are destined to have. I know you have wondered about this. You have asked yourself why you are here. You have questioned whether your life has meaning. You have looked at others who seem to have clear direction and felt confused about your own path. Sometimes you have felt like you are wandering without a map, moving through days without a sense of destination. But here is what you need to understand. You have a purpose so significant that it cannot be reduced to a single job title or a simple description. Your purpose is not just what you do. It is who you are becoming and who you will touch along the way. Every experience you have had has been shaping you for what is ahead. The good experiences developed certain qualities in you. The difficult experiences developed other qualities. Together, they have been forming you into someone uniquely equipped for a specific assignment in this world. No one else has your exact combination of experiences. No one else has your exact combination of gifts. No one else has your exact combination of relationships and insights and perspectives. This means that there are things only you can do. Not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are different from everyone else in exactly the right ways. Your purpose will unfold progressively. You do not need to see the whole picture right now. You just need to take the next step, and then the step after that, and then the step after that. Each step will reveal more of the path. Each step will prepare you for what comes next. Each step will bring you closer to the fullness of what I have prepared. Let me explain why I work this way. Why do I not simply reveal your entire destiny to you all at once? Why do I not give you a complete roadmap from where you are to where you are going? There are several reasons. First, if you saw the full picture, you might become overwhelmed. The scope of what I have planned for some of you would be paralyzing if you saw it all at once. You would look at where you are now and where I want to take you, and the distance would seem impossibly far. By revealing one step at a time, I keep the journey manageable. Each step is something you can actually do. Each step is within your current capacity. Second, if you knew everything ahead of time, you might try to skip steps. Human nature wants to arrive at destinations without traveling the road, but the road is essential. The road is where you are formed. The road is where your character is developed. The road is where you become the person who can actually handle the destination. If I let you skip the road, you would arrive at the destination unprepared, and it would destroy you rather than bless you. Third, walking step by step requires faith, and faith is how I work. Faith pleases me. Faith connects you to my power. Faith positions you to receive what I have prepared. If you could see everything clearly, faith would not be necessary. But I want faith to be necessary because faith is how we relate. Your trust in me, despite limited visibility, is precious to me. It is the currency of our relationship. Fourth, step by step keeps you dependent on me. If you had the whole map, you might think you could navigate on your own. You might forget to check in with me. You might rely on your own understanding instead of my guidance. But when you only have the next step, you have to keep coming back. You have to keep asking. You have to stay connected. And that ongoing connection is exactly what I want. So embrace the not knowing. Embrace the mystery. Embrace the step-by-step nature of how I lead. It is not a flaw in my guidance. It is a feature. It is designed for your good and for our relationship. Let me tell you another story. There was once a young woman who felt completely lost about her direction in life. She had tried several different paths, and none of them seemed right. She had started and stopped multiple times. She had begun to believe that she was defective somehow, that everyone else had received a clear sense of purpose except her. What she did not realize was that every false start was actually necessary. Each path she tried taught her something essential. Each disappointment refined her understanding of what she was actually looking for. Each closed door helped her identify which doors were truly meant for her. When she finally found her path, it incorporated elements from every previous attempt. The skills she learned in her first career became useful in unexpected ways. The connections she made during her second attempt opened doors she never anticipated. The lessons from her failures became the foundation of her wisdom. Looking back, she could see that nothing had been wasted. What felt like confusion was actually preparation. What felt like failure was actually education. What felt like lost time was actually investment in a future she could not yet see. Your story is similar. Everything you have experienced is being woven together into something meaningful. The threads that seem random will eventually form a beautiful pattern. The pieces that seem disconnected will eventually fit together perfectly. Trust the process even when you cannot see the picture. Let me expand on this idea of threads being woven together. Imagine a master weaver working at a loom. From behind the loom, all you can see is a tangled mess of threads going in different directions. It looks chaotic. It looks random. It looks like nothing meaningful could possibly emerge from such disorder. But the weaver sees the front of the loom. The weaver sees the pattern that is forming. The weaver knows exactly which threads to pull and when to pull them to create something beautiful. Your life is like the back of that loom. From your perspective, it looks like a mess. Events seem disconnected. Experiences seem random. Relationships seem unrelated to each other. But I am the weaver, and I see the front of the loom. I see the pattern that is emerging. I know how each thread contributes to the whole picture. Some threads look ugly from behind but are essential to the beauty in front. Some threads seem to be going the wrong direction but are actually creating depth and texture. Some threads that appear to be mistakes are actually intentional design elements. You cannot judge the tapestry from behind the loom. You have to trust the weaver. One day, you will see the front of the loom. You will see what I have been creating with all the threads of your life, and you will be amazed. The beauty will take your breath away. The meaning will bring you to tears. The purposefulness of every single thread, even the ones that caused pain, will become clear. Until that day, trust me. Trust that I know what I am doing with the threads of your life. Trust that the apparent chaos is actually order from a different perspective. Trust that the beauty on the front of the loom is worth the mystery on the back. Now I want to speak to what is coming. Not vague generalities, but specific things I am preparing for you. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not wishful thinking. It is prophetic declaration. In the coming days, you will receive clarity about a decision you have been struggling with. The confusion will lift. The path forward will become obvious. What has seemed impossible to figure out will suddenly make sense. This clarity is not something you will manufacture through analysis. It will be a gift of understanding that drops into your spirit when you least expect it. In the coming weeks, you will have an encounter that changes your perspective. It might be a conversation with someone. It might be something you read or watch or hear. It might be an experience that shifts how you see yourself or your situation. This encounter is not random. I am arranging it specifically for you because there is something you need to understand that you cannot learn any other way. In the coming months, you will see breakthrough in an area where you had almost given up hope. Something that has been stuck for a long time will suddenly start moving. Progress that seemed impossible will begin to happen. Results that you could not produce through your own efforts will manifest through my intervention. When it happens, you will know that it was me because no human explanation will be adequate. In the coming year, you will look back at where you are right now, and you will be amazed at how far you have come. The growth will be undeniable. The change will be visible. The transformation will be remarkable. People who knew you before will notice the difference. You will notice the difference. And you will give me glory because you will know that human willpower alone could not have produced such change. Let me be even more specific about some of the changes you will see. There are areas of your life that have been stubborn, areas that have resisted change despite your best efforts, habits you have tried to break, thought patterns you have tried to shift, relational dynamics you have tried to improve. Some of these have been battlegrounds for years, and you have almost given up hope of ever seeing change. I want to tell you that breakthrough is coming in these stubborn areas, not because your willpower will finally be strong enough, but because I'm going to intervene in new ways. Fresh grace is being released. New strategies are being revealed. Supernatural power is being applied to natural problems. The habit that has enslaved you, I am breaking its grip. Not just managing it or coping with it, but actually breaking its power over you. You will look back and wonder how you were ever bound by something that no longer has any hold on you. The freedom will be real and lasting. The thought patterns that have tormented you, I am renewing your mind. The loops of negative thinking that have played on repeat for years are going to be interrupted. New thoughts are going to replace the old ones. My truth is going to overwrite the lies you have believed. And as your thinking changes, everything else will follow. The relational dynamics that have been painful, I am bringing transformation there too. Some relationships will be healed. Some will be released. Some will be reconstructed on entirely new foundations. What has been a source of pain will become a source of purpose. I am doing a new thing. Some of you have been believing for specific miracles. A child who has wandered from faith. A marriage that is barely surviving. A body that is battling disease. A financial situation that seems impossible. I know what you have been praying for. I know how long you have been waiting. And I want you to know that I have heard every prayer. I am not going to tell you exactly when or how these miracles will manifest, because that is not how I work. But I am telling you to keep believing. Keep praying. Keep holding on. The fact that it has not happened yet does not mean it is not going to happen. My timing is perfect, even when it is incomprehensible. But I am not just talking about your future. I am talking about the future of those you will impact. Because your transformation is not just for you. It is for the generations that will be influenced by who you become. Your children, if you have them or will have them, will inherit not just your genetic material, but your spiritual legacy. What I do in you will echo through them. The freedom you walk in will become available to them. The breakthroughs you experience will create pathways for them to follow. Let me speak specifically to those of you who are parents or who will become parents. The transformation happening in you right now is not just for your benefit. It is for the benefit of the generations that will come from you. Every chain you break is a chain your children will not have to fight. Every lie you overcome is a lie they will not inherit. Every victory you win expands the territory of freedom available to your family line. This is one of the reasons the enemy fights so hard against your breakthrough. He is not just trying to stop you. He is trying to stop the generations that will follow you. He knows that if he can keep you bound, the binding has a better chance of passing down. But if you get free, the freedom becomes part of your family's inheritance. Some of you are believing not just for yourselves, but for children who have wandered, sons and daughters who have walked away from faith, young people who are making decisions that break your heart. You have prayed and wept and interceded, wondering if anything is getting through. I want to speak to this specifically. I have not forgotten your children. Your prayers have not fallen on deaf ears. I am pursuing them even when they are running from me. I am positioning people and circumstances to reach them. I am working on their hearts in ways you cannot see. Do not give up hope. Do not stop praying. The same God who is working in you is working in them, even when the evidence is not yet visible. There is a promise in Scripture that has been spoken over countless parents. Believe in the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household. This is not a guarantee that removes human free will, but it is a declaration of my heart toward families. I want whole households. I want complete redemption. I want parents and children walking together in freedom and faith. Hold on to this promise. Declare it over your family. Do not let go of hope for your children, no matter how far they have wandered. I specialize in bringing back those who have strayed. I am the good shepherd who leaves the 99 to pursue the one. Your son is that one. Your daughter is that one. And I am in pursuit. Your extended family will be affected as well. Some of them have been watching you, even if they have not said anything. They have noticed your faith. They have observed how you handle difficulties. And some of them are being drawn toward me because of what they see in you. You are a living testimony even when you do not feel like one. Beyond your family, there are people in your community who will be touched by your story. People who are facing similar struggles. People who need to see that transformation is possible. People who are one conversation away from breakthrough but do not know who to talk to. You will be positioned to be that person for some of them. Not because you are perfect, but because you are available. This is part of why your preparation has taken time. I am not just preparing you for personal blessing. I am preparing you for spiritual influence. And the influence I have in mind requires depth of character that cannot be developed overnight. Let me tell you more about this influence I have in mind. It is not about popularity or fame or having a large following. Those things may or may not come. The influence I am talking about is deeper than that. It is the kind of influence that changes lives through authenticity. It is the impact that happens when someone who has been transformed allows their transformation to overflow to others. Think about the people who have influenced you most deeply in your life. Were they celebrities? Were they famous? Probably not. They were probably ordinary people who walked with me and allowed that walk to affect how they lived. A grandparent who prayed, a friend who listened, a teacher who believed in you, a stranger who spoke the right word at the right time. Influence is not about platforms. It is about presence. The influence I am developing in you will be the same kind. It will happen in conversations over coffee. It will happen in text messages sent at just the right moment. It will happen in the way you handle difficulty and let others see your faith in action. It will happen in the stories you share about what I have done in your life. Some of you will have public influence, platforms, audiences, visibility, but even that public influence will be built on the foundation of private character. The microphone only amplifies what is already inside. If there is nothing of substance inside, the microphone just broadcasts emptiness. But if there is genuine transformation, genuine depth, genuine encounter with me, then the microphone becomes a tool for spreading that reality to others. Do not despise small beginnings or small circles of influence. The person you encourage today might go on to encourage thousands. The seed you plant in one life might bear fruit in generations to come. You never know the full impact of a single act of kindness, a single word of truth, a single demonstration of faithfulness. The ripples spread further than you can see. This is the influence I am preparing you for. Not a flash of temporary fame, but a sustained impact that echoes into eternity. Are you willing to be prepared for that? Are you willing to let me develop in you what is necessary for that kind of lasting impact? Now I need to shift into something more intense. There is a battle happening over your life that you need to understand. Not so you will be afraid, but so you will be aware. Not so you will focus on the enemy, but so you will know how to stand in my victory. The enemy has been assigned against you because he recognizes your potential. If you are not a threat to his kingdom, he would leave you alone. The very fact that you have faced opposition is evidence that you carry something significant. Think about it. Why would the enemy waste resources attacking someone who poses no threat? You have been targeted because of who you are becoming. The attacks you have endured were attempts to abort your destiny before it could be born. The discouragement you have faced was designed to make you give up before you could break through. The lies you have believed were planted to distort your identity, so you would never walk in your true authority. But here is what the enemy miscalculated. He did not account for me. The enemy studies patterns. He observes human behavior. He knows your weaknesses, and he knows when you are most vulnerable. But there is something he cannot predict and cannot control: my intervention. He cannot predict when I will suddenly shift the circumstances. He cannot control when I decide to move on your behalf. He cannot anticipate the creative ways I will work around every obstacle he places in your path. I want to give you a glimpse into what has been happening in the spiritual realm. Every time the enemy set a trap for you, I rerouted your path. Every time he assigned a spirit to discourage you, I dispatched angels to strengthen you. Every time he attempted to steal what was meant for you, I recovered it and multiplied it. The battle has been intense, but you have not been fighting alone. There have been angelic interventions in your life that you know nothing about. Literal angels, powerful spiritual beings assigned to guard you, have been actively engaged in your protection. They have deflected attacks you never saw coming. They have battled forces you cannot perceive with natural eyes. They have stood guard while you slept, while you worked, while you lived your daily life. This is not fantasy or religious imagery. This is spiritual reality. The heavenly hosts are real. Their assignments are real. Their battles on your behalf are real. And their victories are the reason you are still standing despite everything the enemy has thrown at you. Let me speak directly to the spiritual forces that have been working against my child. This is not merely a request. This is a command from the throne room of heaven. Every assignment of depression, be broken now. Every spirit of heaviness that has been trying to crush the hope out of my child, release your grip. You have no legal right to remain. The blood of Jesus has canceled every claim you thought you had. Your time of torment is over. Every word curse that has been spoken against this one, be nullified. Words spoken in anger, words spoken in jealousy, words spoken in ignorance, words spoken even by well-meaning people who did not understand the power of their speech. I break the power of every negative declaration. They will not define my child's future. They will not limit my child's destiny. They will fall to the ground like seeds thrown on rock, unable to take root. Every generational pattern that has been passed down, this is where it stops. The cycles of dysfunction that have plagued the family line will not continue. The addictions that have claimed previous generations will not claim this one. The poverty mindset that has restricted financial blessing will not operate here. The relational patterns that have destroyed marriages and families will not be repeated. I am breaking the chain. This generation is marked for freedom. Let me be specific about some of the generational patterns I am breaking. There may be a history of broken marriages in your family line. Generation after generation, relationships have failed. Divorce has been normalized. You may have grown up assuming that your marriage would eventually end the same way. But I declare that this pattern stops with you. The marriage you are in, or the marriage you will enter, can be different. It can be healthy. It can last. It can thrive. The curse is being broken. There may be a history of financial struggle. No matter how hard people in your family worked, There was never enough. Poverty was passed down like a genetic trait. But I am breaking that mindset and that pattern. You are not destined for lack. You are not cursed to struggle financially forever. The generational pattern is being interrupted. A new pattern of blessing and provision is being established. There may be a history of mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, and other struggles that seem to affect one generation after another. But I declare healing over your mind and over the minds of those who come after you. The patterns of darkness are being interrupted by my light. A new legacy of peace and mental wholeness is being established. There may be patterns of abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, or otherwise, cycles of hurt that have repeated through generations. But I say, this is where it ends. The chain of pain stops here. You will not perpetuate what was done to you. You will break the cycle. You will heal, and that healing will protect those who come after you. Whatever the specific pattern is in your family, name it right now in your heart. Bring it before me, and know that I have the power to break it, not just to manage it or cope with it, but to actually break its power over your family line forever. Every plan the enemy has set in motion against this family, these finances, this health, this calling, I overturn it all. What was meant for destruction, I am converting into destiny. What was designed to harm, I am transforming into help. The very weapons formed against my child will become testimonies of my delivering power. Did you sense something shift as those declarations were spoken? That was the spiritual atmosphere rearranging itself around you. Things that had been locked are now unlocked. Things that had been bound are now released. Things that had been blocked are now open. You may not see the full manifestation immediately in the natural realm, but know this. Something significant just happened in the spirit. Let me tell you what is different now. The access points that allowed the enemy to torment you have been sealed. The legal rights he claimed have been canceled. The spiritual doors that were left open through past experiences, through generational patterns, through words spoken over you, those doors are now closed and locked. He will try again, that is his nature. But he will find that his previous strategies no longer work. You may notice changes in the days ahead. Dreams that were disturbing may become peaceful. Thoughts that were tormenting may quieten. Situations that were chaotic may begin to stabilize. This is not coincidence. This is the natural realm catching up with what has happened in the spiritual realm. The shift has already occurred in heaven. Now it is manifesting on earth. I want to give you practical wisdom for maintaining this freedom. The enemy will test the doors to see if they can be reopened. He will send familiar temptations. He will replay old scenarios. He will try to trigger the same responses that gave him access before. Your job is to resist, not in your own strength, but in mine. When you feel the old patterns trying to reassert themselves, call on my name. Speak truth over yourself. Remind the enemy and remind yourself who you belong to and what has been declared over you. Freedom is not just received, it is maintained. It is a daily choice to live in the liberty that has been purchased for you. Some people receive breakthrough and then gradually slide back into bondage because they do not actively maintain what they have received. Do not let that be your story. Guard what has been given to you. Protect the territory that has been reclaimed. Stand firm in the freedom that is now yours. Now I want to speak to your identity. This is perhaps the most important thing I will say in this entire message, because everything else flows from here. If you do not understand who you are, you will not be able to receive what I have for you. You are not who the enemy says you are. You are not who the critics say you are. You are not who your past says you are. You are not even who you say you are when you are speaking negative things over yourself. You are who I say you are. And here is what I say. You are chosen. Not as an afterthought or a backup plan, but as a first choice. Before the foundation of the world, before time began its count, before anything existed except me, I chose you. I looked across the expanse of history, saw every person who would ever live, and I chose you specifically, not because you earned it, not because you deserved it, not because you were better than anyone else. I chose you because I wanted you, because something in you delights my heart in a way that no one else can. You are redeemed. Whatever you have done, wherever you have been, however far you have wandered, the price for your complete redemption has already been paid. The blood shed on Calvary was sufficient for your forgiveness. You do not need to punish yourself for sins that have already been paid for. You do not need to carry guilt for things that have already been covered. The transaction is complete. Your redemption is accomplished. Walk in the freedom that cost everything to purchase. You are called. There's purpose attached to your life that no one else can fulfill. You are not generic. You are not replaceable. You are not a random collection of atoms temporarily arranged in human form. You are a purposeful creation with a specific calling that the world needs. When you do not walk in your calling, the world misses what only you could have provided. That is how important you are. You are empowered. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside you. Think about that. The most powerful force in the universe, resurrection power, is resident within you. You are not limited to human strength. You are not restricted to natural ability. You carry supernatural capacity for supernatural assignments. You are protected. Angels are assigned to guard you. Divine promises are established to cover you. My presence surrounds you like a shield. This does not mean you will never face difficulty, but it means you will never face it alone, and you will never be destroyed by it. You are loved, unconditionally, irrevocably, eternally. My love for you is not based on performance. It does not fluctuate with your behavior. It does not increase when you do well, or decrease when you fail. It simply is. Constant, unchanging, absolute. You could not do anything to make me love you more, and you could not do anything to make me love you less. My love is not a response to who you are. It is a reflection of who I am. These are not just nice words. These are declarations of reality. When you align your self-perception with these truths, everything in your life begins to shift. You start making decisions from abundance instead of lack. You start approaching challenges with confidence instead of fear. You start expecting good things because you understand that you are a child of the King. I want to go deeper into each of these identity truths because they are foundational to everything else. When I say you are chosen, I mean something profound. Before anything existed, before the stars were hung in place, before the mountains were formed, before the first human drew breath, I saw you. I saw the unique combination of qualities that would make you who you are. I saw the specific contribution you would make to history. And in that eternal moment, I chose you. I said yes to you. I decided that you would exist. This was not a random decision. It was a deliberate choice. I could have created a universe without you in it. I could have made humanity without including you specifically. But I chose otherwise. I wanted you here. I wanted your particular presence in this particular time and place. You are not an accident of biology. You are an intention of divinity. When I say you are redeemed, I am speaking of the most costly transaction in the history of the universe. The price paid for your freedom was the blood of my own son. There is nothing more valuable that could have been given. This tells you something about your worth to me. I would not have paid such an astronomical price for something worthless. The cost of your redemption reveals your value in my eyes. Whatever you have done, and I know all of it, has been covered. The sins you remember and the sins you have forgotten. The sins that were public and the sins that were private. The sins of commission and the sins of omission. All of it has been dealt with at the cross. You do not need to keep paying for what has already been paid. You do not need to keep punishing yourself for what has already been forgiven. Accept the finished work and walk in freedom. When I say you are called, I am affirming that your life has direction. You are not wandering aimlessly through existence. There is a path prepared for you. There are assignments waiting for you. There are people who need what you carry. Your calling may not look like someone else's. It may not be a platform or a position that the world considers impressive, but it is significant in my kingdom, and that is the only measurement that matters eternally. When I say you are empowered, I am speaking of resources beyond your natural capacity. The Holy Spirit living within you is not a passive presence. He is an active power. He enables you to do things you could not do alone. He gives you wisdom beyond your education, strength beyond your stamina, love beyond your natural affection. You are not operating in human energy alone. Divine power is available to you in every situation. When I say you are protected, I am declaring that nothing can ultimately destroy what I am doing in you. Yes, you will face challenges. Yes, there will be attacks, but they will not succeed in derailing your destiny. They may cause temporary setbacks, but they cannot cause permanent defeat. I am your shield and your defender. The one who touches you touches the apple of my eye. Let me paint a picture of what I see when I look at your future. Not the future filtered through your fears and limitations, but the future as it actually exists in my plans. I see you walking in freedom. The things that have bound you are gone. The chains that have restricted you have fallen off. The heaviness that has weighed you down has lifted. You move through life with a lightness and joy that you have not experienced in years. People notice something different about you. There is a peace in your eyes that was not there before. There is a confidence in your posture that is new. I see you walking in purpose. The confusion about your direction has cleared. You know why you are here. You understand your assignment. Every day has meaning because you see how it connects to the bigger picture. The mundane tasks become sacred because you understand that they are part of a greater purpose. Work becomes worship. Service becomes fulfillment. I see you walking in provision. Your needs are met, not just barely, but abundantly. There is enough for your family, enough to be generous to others, enough to not be constantly worried about money. Financial stress has been replaced by financial stewardship. You are managing resources for kingdom purposes instead of scrambling for survival. I see you walking in health. Your body is functioning as it was designed to function. Energy has returned. Strength has been restored. The symptoms that worried you have resolved. You are able to do the things you want to do without being limited by physical problems. You take care of the body I have given you, and it responds with vitality. I see you walking in relationships, healthy relationships, supportive relationships, life-giving relationships. The toxic connections have been severed. The right people are in your life. There is mutual encouragement, accountability, and growth. You are not isolated anymore. You are part of a community that celebrates you and challenges you. I see you walking in influence. Your story is impacting others. Your testimony is bringing hope. Your presence is making a difference. People seek you out for wisdom and encouragement. You are a source of light in dark places. The transformation in your life has become a roadmap for others who are stuck where you used to be. Let me expand on what this influence will look like. It will not be about perfection. It will be about authenticity. You will not be helping people from a place of having it all figured out. You will be helping them from a place of having experienced my faithfulness in the midst of your own struggles. This is far more powerful than presenting a polished image that no one can relate to. When you share your story, the real story, with the messy parts included, something powerful happens. People who are struggling see themselves in you. They think, if God could do that for them, maybe He can do it for me too. Your honesty becomes their hope. Your vulnerability becomes their doorway to faith. I see you speaking words of life over people who have only heard words of death. People who have been told they are worthless, that they will never amount to anything, that they are beyond help. You will speak truth over them. You will tell them who they really are. You will call out the gold that others could not see, and your words will carry weight because they are backed by my spirit and by your own experience of transformation. I see you praying with people and for people in ways that shift spiritual atmospheres. Not performative prayers for show, but genuine intercession that comes from a heart that knows me. Some of you will have specific gifts in prayer, words of knowledge, prophetic insights, faith for healing. These gifts are already in seed form and will grow as you step into your calling. I see you leading in various capacities. Some of you in ministries, some of you in businesses, some of you in families, some of you in communities. Leadership is not about titles, it is about influence. and the influence I am developing in you will manifest wherever you are, whatever your official role might be. This is not fantasy. This is destiny. This is what I have planned. And this is what will come to pass as you trust me and walk with me. But I want to be clear with you. This future I am describing is not automatic. It is available, but it must be walked into. It is promised, but it must be possessed. My promises are like seeds. They are real, and they contain everything needed for full manifestation. But they must be planted in the soil of faith and watered with obedience. Some people hear words like this and feel encouraged for a moment, but then return to their old patterns of thinking and behaving. Nothing changes because they did not actually step into what was offered. They admired the promise from a distance, but did not enter into it. I do not want that to be your story. I want you to be one of the ones who actually experiences the fullness of what I have prepared. And that requires partnership with me, not perfection. I already told you that I do not require that, but partnership, a willingness to trust me even when you do not understand, a choice to obey even when it is inconvenient, a decision to keep moving forward even when progress seems slow. Let me tell you another story to illustrate what I mean. There was once a treasure that was buried in a field. The person who owned the field did not know it was there. He walked over it every day without any awareness of what lay beneath his feet. The treasure remained hidden, not because it did not exist, but because no one was looking for it. One day, a traveler passed through and noticed something unusual about a particular spot in the field. He began to dig. The owner of the field thought he was crazy. Why waste energy digging in the dirt? But the traveler kept digging. He hit obstacles, rocks that had to be removed, roots that had to be cut. The work was difficult and the progress was slow. But then his shovel struck something solid. He cleared away more dirt and found a chest. Inside the chest was treasure beyond anything he could have imagined. His persistence had paid off. His willingness to dig when others would have given up led him to wealth that would change his life forever. Here is what I want you to understand. The treasure is already there. I have already buried blessings in the field of your life. They are not things you need to manufacture or create from nothing. They exist. They are real. But they need to be uncovered. They need to be pursued. They need to be claimed. Some of you have been walking over treasure without knowing it. The breakthrough you seek is closer than you think. The blessing you have been praying for is within reach. But you have to dig. You have to persist. You have to keep going when others would quit. What I am offering you is not a passive reception, but an active partnership. I will lead you to the right spot. I will give you the tools you need. I will strengthen you for the work. But you have to do the digging. You have to participate in your own breakthrough. This brings me to something else I want to address: the role of action in receiving what I have promised. Faith without works is dead. Not because the works earn anything, but because genuine faith naturally expresses itself in action. When you really believe something, you act accordingly. If you believe there is treasure in a field, you dig. If you believe there is a door about to open, you position yourself near it. If you believe provision is coming, you prepare to receive it. If you believe healing is possible, you stop making decisions as though you will always be sick. Faith is not just mental assent to truth. It is lived alignment with that truth. I am asking you to start living as though what I have spoken over you is going to happen. Not in a presumptuous way that ignores current reality, but in a faith-filled way that acknowledges a greater reality. Begin to make decisions that line up with where you are going, rather than where you have been. Start seeing yourself as I see you, rather than as you have seen yourself. This is not pretending. This is positioning. You are positioning yourself for what is coming by aligning your mind, your words, and your actions with my declarations. There is something I want you to do, not to earn what I have promised, but to position yourself to receive it. I want you to make a decision to stop partnering with fear. Fear has been your companion for too long. It has whispered in your ear, suggested worst-case scenarios, and convinced you to play small. But fear is a liar. Every time you have listened to fear, it has cost you something. Opportunities missed, relationships not pursued, risks not taken, dreams not attempted. Fear promises to protect you, but it actually imprisons you. It keeps you in a cell of what-ifs and worst cases while life passes by outside the walls. I am not asking you to be reckless. Wisdom is different from fear. Wisdom assesses situations accurately and makes informed decisions. Fear distorts situations dramatically and makes paralyzed non-decisions. Learn to distinguish between the voice of wisdom and the voice of fear. Wisdom sounds like consideration. Fear sounds like catastrophe. When fear speaks, counter it with truth. When fear says you cannot do it, remind yourself that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. When fear says no one cares, remind yourself that the Creator of the universe has counted the hairs on your head. When fear says it will never get better, remind yourself that I am working all things together for your good. Let me give you some practical tools for fighting fear. First, identify the specific lies that fear is telling you. Fear thrives in vagueness. It creates a general sense of dread that is hard to pin down. But when you force fear to be specific, you take away much of its power. What exactly are you afraid of? Name it. Write it down. Bring it into the light. Second, test the fear against reality. Is what you are afraid of actually likely to happen? Even if it did happen, would it truly be as catastrophic as fear is suggesting? Often, fear exaggerates outcomes and ignores your ability to cope. When you examine fear rationally, it frequently shrinks. Third, replace the fearful thought with truth. Do not just push the fear away. That leaves a vacuum. Replace it with something solid. For every fearful thought, find a truth from my word that speaks to that fear. I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That is a truth you can speak over every fearful thought. Fourth, take action despite the fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of fear. Sometimes you have to do the thing while you are still afraid. Each time you act despite fear, you weaken fear's grip on you. You prove to yourself that fear is not the boss. You build a track record of courage. Fifth, stay connected to community. Fear grows in isolation. When you are alone with your thoughts, they can spiral out of control. But when you share your fears with trusted others, they often lose their power. Others can speak truth to you. Others can remind you of what is real. Others can pray with you and for you. Do not try to fight fear alone. These tools are not replacements for faith. They are expressions of faith. Using practical strategies to fight fear is not unspiritual. It is simply applying wisdom to the battle. Use every tool available to you. This is not about pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about confronting challenges from a place of faith rather than fear. Faith does not deny reality, it accesses a higher reality. Faith looks at the giant and says, "You are too small for my God," rather than "I am too small for this giant." Here is another story I want to share with you. There was once a village that lived in the shadow of a great mountain. For generations, the villagers had been told that the mountain was dangerous. Their ancestors had created rules about never approaching it. Stories were passed down about terrible things that happened to those who ventured too close. Fear of the mountain was woven into the culture. One day, a traveler came to the village. He had come from the other side of the mountain and was surprised to learn of the fear. He told the villagers that on the other side of the mountain was a beautiful valley with abundant resources. Clean water, fertile soil. Everything the village needed was just on the other side of what they feared. Most of the villagers did not believe him. The fear was too deeply rooted. But a few brave souls decided to investigate. They approached the mountain cautiously at first, expecting disaster at any moment. But disaster never came. They climbed higher, and the journey was challenging but not deadly. When they reached the summit and saw the valley on the other side, they wept with a mixture of joy and grief. Joy at the discovery, grief at all the years their village had lived in unnecessary limitation. Those explorers returned to the village and led others to the valley. Eventually, the whole village relocated. What they had feared for generations turned out to be the pathway to their blessing. The old stories that had kept them afraid were replaced with new stories of courage and discovery. The children of that village grew up knowing not to believe everything fear tells you. They learned that the greatest blessings are often hidden behind the things that frighten us most. The legacy of those brave explorers affected generations that came after them. This is what I want for you. Not just personal breakthrough, but breakthrough that creates a legacy. Freedom that flows down through your family line. Courage that becomes part of how your descendants see the world. You are not just fighting for yourself, you are fighting for everyone who will come after you. Every fear you conquer becomes a fear your children will not have to face. Every mountain you climb becomes a mountain that is already conquered for them. Think about that for a moment. The battles you are fighting now are establishing territory for generations to come. The victories you win now create inheritance for those who will follow. This is not just about you. It is about a lineage of blessing that I want to establish through you. Some people minimize their own struggles because they think they are only personal. They think, it's just my issue. It doesn't really matter in the big picture. But that is not true. Your freedom matters eternally. Your breakthrough has generational implications. When you step into what I have prepared for you, you are not just stepping into your own destiny. You are clearing a path for others. What is the mountain in your life? What is the thing you have feared for so long that the fear has become part of your identity? What is on the other side of that fear that you have been missing? I am inviting you to explore the mountain. Not carelessly, but courageously. Not ignoring legitimate caution, but refusing illegitimate terror. The breakthrough you seek may be on the other side of the thing you have been avoiding. Let me tell you another story about a farmer who had 2 fields. The first field was easy to access. The soil was decent. The water source was nearby. It produced acceptable harvests year after year. The farmer was comfortable with this field. He knew it well. He could predict exactly what would happen there. The second field was harder to reach. It required crossing a rough terrain. The farmer had heard rumors that the soil there was exceptional, but he had never verified it himself. The journey seemed too difficult. The risk seemed too high. So he focused on the first field and left the second one unexplored. Years passed. The first field began to show signs of depletion. The harvests became smaller. The soil was exhausted from years of use without rest. The farmer became worried about his future. Finally, out of desperation, he decided to attempt the journey to the second field. The crossing was indeed difficult. There were moments he wanted to turn back, but he pressed on. When he arrived, he discovered that the rumors were true. The soil was richer than anything he had experienced. The water sources were pure and plentiful. The first harvest from this field exceeded anything the first field had ever produced. The farmer realized that his comfort had been his limitation. His reluctance to endure temporary difficulty had cost him years of greater blessing. The second field had been waiting for him all along. He simply had not been willing to make the journey. Here is what happened next. The farmer began to split his time between both fields. He would work the second field, then return to rest in the familiar territory of the first. Over time, he developed the second field into a thriving enterprise. The productivity of that rich soil exceeded his wildest expectations. He was able to provide for his family in ways he never could before. He was able to help his neighbors during difficult seasons. His influence in the community grew. But he never forgot the lesson. He would often tell younger farmers, "Do not let the comfort of the familiar keep you from the abundance of the unfamiliar. There is always more available than what you have settled for. The second field is waiting." The second field became a phrase in that community. Whenever someone was playing it safe, settling for less, refusing to take a risk that could lead to greater reward, someone would say, "You need to find your second field." It became shorthand for stepping out of comfort and into possibility. I wonder if there is a second field in your life, a place of greater blessing that requires greater courage to access, a level of purpose that demands a more difficult journey. You have been comfortable in the first field, and it has served you adequately, but adequate is not abundant. Acceptable is not exceptional. I am calling you to the second field. The journey will stretch you. There will be moments of doubt. There will be temptations to turn back to what is familiar. But what awaits you there is worth every difficult step. Here is what I want you to do in response to the parable of the two fields. Ask yourself honestly, where have I been settling? Where have I been accepting good enough when exceptional was available? Where have I been staying in the first field because the journey to the second field seemed too hard? Maybe it is your career. You have a job that pays the bills, but it does not align with your calling. The second field, pursuing work that matters to your soul, seems too risky. The crossing seems too uncertain, so you stay where you are, knowing deep down that there is more available. Maybe it is your relationships. You have connections that are familiar, but they do not challenge you to grow. The second field, deeper community, more authentic relationships, would require vulnerability you have been avoiding. So you stay on the surface, missing the intimacy that your heart craves. Maybe it is your spiritual life. You have a religious routine that you go through, but it does not produce transformation. The second field, genuine encounter, real surrender, actual intimacy with me, would require changes you have been resisting. So you maintain the form of godliness while lacking its power. I am not trying to condemn you. I am trying to call you forward. The first field is not bad, it is just not everything. The second field is where abundance lives. The second field is where purpose flourishes. The second field is where the fullness of what I have for you can be found. What would it look like for you to begin the journey? You do not have to arrive overnight. You just have to start moving. One step in the direction of the second field. One decision to pursue more than what you have settled for. One act of faith toward the abundance that awaits. I will be with you on the journey. I will guide you through the difficult terrain. I will strengthen you when you want to turn back. I will celebrate with you when you finally arrive. Just start. Take the first step. The second field is waiting. As I bring this message toward its conclusion, I want to speak to the person who feels like they have heard all of this before. The person who has received prophetic words and promises, but has seen few of them come to pass. The person whose heart has been broken by hope deferred. You are cautious about getting your expectations up because the disappointment of unfulfilled words has wounded you deeply. I understand that caution. I do not blame you for it. The pain of hoped for things that never materialized is real and valid. Some of those words came from well-meaning people who were not actually speaking my voice. Some of them were genuine words that had conditions attached which were not met. Some of them are still in process and have not yet come to fruition. But here is what I want you to know. My words never return void. When I speak something, it carries power to accomplish what was spoken. The variable is never my faithfulness. It is always timing, preparation, or conditions. If I have spoken something over your life, it will happen. It may not happen in the time frame you expected. It may not happen in the way you imagined. But it will happen, because I do not lie. I cannot lie. My nature makes deception impossible. So let this message rekindle hope in you. Not hope in human prophets or human promises, but hope in me. I am the God who keeps covenant. I am the God who remembers. I am the God who completes what I start. What I have spoken over you stands. The calling I placed on your life remains. The destiny I prepared for you is still available. No amount of waiting has canceled it. No amount of apparent delay has revoked it. It is yours, and you will walk in it. Let me speak to how you should respond to this message. It would be easy to hear these words, feel encouraged for a moment, and then move on with your life unchanged. But I do not want that for you. I want this to be a turning point. I want this message to mark a before and after in your story. Here's what I am asking you to do. First, receive what has been spoken, not passively, but actively. Let these words sink into the deepest parts of your heart. Do not let the enemy snatch them away through distraction or doubt. Guard them like precious treasure because that is exactly what they are. Second, Begin to speak differently about yourself and your situation. The words that come out of your mouth matter. They have creative power. If you keep speaking defeat and limitation and impossibility, you are working against what I am trying to do. Start aligning your words with my words. When you talk about yourself, talk about who I say you are. When you talk about your future, talk about what I have promised. This is not denial, it is declaration. Third, take a step. You do not need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You do not need a complete roadmap to start moving in the right direction. There is something specific that I am putting on your heart right now. A step you know you need to take, but have been avoiding. Take it. Do not wait for perfect conditions or complete clarity. Take the step, and I will illuminate the next one when you need it. Fourth, stay connected. What I am doing in you requires ongoing relationship, not a one-time encounter. The transformation I have in mind is not instantaneous. It is progressive. You will need to keep coming back, keep seeking, keep listening, keep responding. The more time you spend in my presence, the more you will become who I created you to be. Fifth, find others who are on the same journey. You are not meant to do this alone. There are people who will encourage you when you are discouraged. There are people who will believe for you when your faith is weak. There are people who will speak truth to you when lies are trying to deceive you. Find them, connect with them, build community around shared faith. Before I speak the final words, I want to give you this commission. This is not just a message to receive. It is a mission to accept. Go and be to others what you needed someone to be for you. When you find someone who is struggling with what you have struggled with, share your story. When you encounter someone who is believing the same lies you once believed, speak truth over them. When you meet someone who is stuck where you were stuck, help them find the path forward. Let me tell you how to do this well. Ministry to others is not about having all the answers. It is about being present. It is about listening more than speaking. It is about making people feel seen and heard before trying to fix them. Too often, well-meaning believers rush to give advice when what someone really needs is to know they are not alone. When you encounter someone in pain, start by simply being with them in that pain. Do not minimize it. Do not immediately try to make it better. Do not quote scripture at them before you have earned the right to speak into their lives. Just be present. Just acknowledge their reality. Just let them know that you see them. Then, as trust is built, you can begin to share your own story. Not in a way that makes it about you, but in a way that gives them hope. Tell them about how you faced something similar. Tell them about how you struggled. Tell them about how my faithfulness met you in that struggle. Your story becomes a bridge that they can walk across into hope. Be sensitive to timing. Not every moment is the right moment for deep ministry. Sometimes people need practical help before they need spiritual counsel. Sometimes they need rest before they need revelation. Sometimes they need you to help with tangible needs before they are ready to talk about heart needs. Let me guide you to know what is needed and when. Be humble about your role. You are not the Savior, I am. You are simply a vessel through which my love can flow. Some people you help will respond immediately. Others will not seem to respond at all. Some seeds take years to grow. Your job is to plant and water. The growth is my department. Pray for the people I bring across your path, not just in the moment, but ongoing. Carry them in your heart. Intercede for them even when you do not see them. Some of the most powerful ministry you will ever do is behind the scenes, in the secret place of prayer, moving mountains that no one will ever know you moved. This is the commission. This is what you are being prepared for. Not a platform for your glory, but a position of service for mine. Your pain is being transformed into purpose. Your test is becoming your testimony. Your mess is becoming your message. Nothing you have been through will be wasted if you are willing to use it for the benefit of others. You are not just a recipient of grace, you are a distributor of it. You are not just blessed, you are a blessing. You are not just loved, you are called to love. The transformation in your life is meant to flow through you to others. This is how my kingdom expands. One transformed life touching another life. One set-free person helping another person find freedom. One healed heart ministering healing to another heart. You are part of this chain. You are a link in the lineage of blessing that stretches back through history and forward into eternity. Think about this lineage for a moment. There were people in history who prayed for you before you were born. People who asked me to bless the generations that would come after them. Their prayers reached into the future and touched your life. Some of the blessings you have received are answers to prayers prayed by people who never knew your name but who loved you enough to intercede for you. Now it is your turn. You are now in the position to pray for those who will come after you. Your prayers can reach into the future, just like those ancestral prayers reached into yours. You can bless generations you will never meet. You can shift the spiritual atmosphere for descendants you will never know. This is the privilege and responsibility of being part of the chain. Do not take this lightly. Your prayers matter more than you realize. Your faithfulness creates ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. The choices you make, the life you live, the God you serve, all of this becomes part of the inheritance you pass down. Accept this commission. Embrace this calling. Walk in this purpose. There is one more thing I want to address before the closing. It is for those of you who feel unqualified for what I am speaking about. You look at your life and see all the reasons why you are not the right person. Your education is lacking. Your background is messy. Your skills are limited. Your resources are scarce. Your track record is spotted. How could someone like you be used for anything significant? I want to challenge that thinking directly. Throughout history, I have consistently chosen the unqualified. Moses had a speech problem and a murder in his past, but I chose him to lead a nation out of slavery. David was the youngest son, overlooked by his own family, but I chose him to become the greatest king Israel ever had. Peter was an uneducated fisherman with a tendency to speak before thinking, but I chose him to be a pillar of the early church. Paul was a persecutor of my followers, complicit in their deaths, but I chose him to write most of the New Testament. Do you see the pattern? I do not choose the qualified. I qualified the chosen. Your insufficiency is not a disqualifier. It is actually a prerequisite. Because when someone obviously unqualified does something extraordinary, everyone knows it was not them. Everyone knows it had to be me. Your weakness becomes the canvas on which I paint my strength. Stop disqualifying yourself from things I have not disqualified you from. Stop telling yourself that you are not smart enough, talented enough, connected enough, experienced enough. Those assessments may be accurate in human terms, but they are irrelevant in spiritual terms. What I call you to do, I equip you to accomplish. What I lead you into, I provide for. The very areas where you feel most inadequate may become the areas of your greatest impact. Your stuttering might become the vehicle for powerful speeches. Your mathematical inability might become the context for financial miracles. Your relational awkwardness might become the backdrop for profound connections. I love to flip the script. I love to take what was weakness and transform it into weapon. So let go of the false humility that is really just fear dressed up in religious language. Let go of the self-assessment that keeps you from stepping into what I have called you to. Let go of the comparison with others who seem more qualified. None of that matters. What matters is whether I have called you, and I am telling you now, I have. Your inadequacy is not a barrier to my purposes. It is actually a qualification for them. I choose the weak things to shame the strong. I choose the foolish things to shame the wise. I choose what the world considers nothing to nullify what the world considers something. This way, no one can boast except in me. Your weakness is the stage on which my strength performs its best work. So step forward. Stop waiting until you feel ready, because that day may never come. Step forward, inadequate, and watch me fill the gaps. Step forward, unqualified, and watch me qualify you in real time. Step forward, afraid, and watch me give you courage with each step. The action unlocks the provision. The obedience releases the empowerment. You are called. You are chosen. You are ready, not in yourself, but in me. Now hear these final words. Let them sink deep into your spirit. Let them become the foundation on which you stand. You are not alone. You have never been alone. In every moment of your life, past, present, and future, I am with you. My presence is your constant companion. My love is your permanent possession. My power is your available resource. You are held. You are covered. You are kept. The path ahead will have challenges. I am not promising a life without difficulties, but I am promising a life where difficulties do not define you, where obstacles do not defeat you, where setbacks do not destroy you. You will face things, but you will face them with me. And because I am with you, you will overcome. Everything I have spoken in this message is true. Everything I have promised is certain. Everything I have declared will come to pass. Not because of your perfection, but because of my faithfulness. Not because you earned it, but because I give it freely. Let me tell you about the confidence I want you to have. It is not confidence in yourself. Self-confidence is fragile because it is based on something unreliable. Your own abilities and performance. What I want you to have is confidence in me. God confidence. Assurance that is rooted not in what you can do, but in what I can do through you. This kind of confidence is unshakable because it is based on something that never changes. I never change. My power never diminishes. My love never fails. My promises never break. When your confidence is anchored in me, it can weather any storm. Think about what it would mean to live with this kind of confidence. You would not be paralyzed by fear of failure, because you would know that even your failures cannot derail my purposes for you. You would not be crushed by criticism, because you would know that my opinion of you matters more than any human opinion. You would not be anxious about the future, because you would know that I hold the future and I hold you. This is the confidence I am building in you. Not overnight, but over time. Each experience of my faithfulness adds to it. Each answered prayer strengthens it. Each impossible situation that I navigate you through deepens it. You are learning to trust me more and more, and that growing trust is producing growing confidence. By the time you step into the fullness of what I have prepared, you will have the confidence to handle it. The confidence will match the calling. The internal readiness will match the external opportunity. You will not shrink back from what I placed before you because you will know, deep in your bones, that I am with you and I am for you. So go forward in confidence, go forward in hope, go forward in faith. The God of the universe is for you. The Creator of all things is working on your behalf. The Savior of the world has your name written on His heart. I have been working while you were unaware. I am working now. And I will continue to work until every promise is fulfilled, every purpose is accomplished, and every plan is completed. Nothing can stop what I have started. No obstacle is too great. No enemy is too powerful. No circumstance is too difficult. You are my beloved. In you I am well pleased. Let me speak one more declaration over you before we close. I want you to receive this deep in your spirit. Let these words become anchors that hold you steady when storms come. You are enough, not because of what you do or accomplish or achieve, but because of who made you and who you belong to. The lie that says you are not enough is one of the enemy's favorites. It keeps people striving endlessly, never at peace, always chasing the next thing that they hope will finally make them feel complete. But you are already complete in me. You lack nothing essential. Everything you need for life and godliness has already been given to you. You are significant. Your life matters. Your existence makes a difference. The world is different because you are in it. Some people struggle with feeling invisible, unimportant, like they could disappear and no one would notice. But I notice. I see every detail of your life, and I declare that you are significant, not because of the size of your platform or the scope of your influence by human measurement, but because you are my child, and I have plans for you. You are capable, not in your own strength, but in the strength I provide. There are things ahead of you that you cannot accomplish alone, and that is exactly the point. I want you dependent on me, but that dependence does not mean incapability. It means empowerment. When you lean on me, you become capable of things that would be impossible otherwise. My power flowing through you enables you to do what you could never do on your own. You are forgiven, completely, thoroughly, eternally. The sins you remember are forgiven. The sins you have forgotten are forgiven. The sins you committed before you knew me are forgiven. The sins you committed after you knew me are forgiven. There is no record against you in heaven. The slate has been wiped clean. The debt has been paid. Stop punishing yourself for things that have already been dealt with. Accept the forgiveness that has been purchased at such great cost. You are loved. I know I have said this multiple times in this message, but it bears repeating because it is so foundational. My love for you is not fragile. It is not conditional. It does not depend on your behavior or your performance or your spiritual disciplines. My love simply is. It was there before you were born. It will be there after you leave this earth. It will be there for eternity. Nothing can separate you from it. Nothing. You are destined. There is a destination for your life that I have determined, a purpose that I have designed, a calling that I have issued. This destiny is not vague or uncertain. It is specific and planned. The path to that destiny may wind through places you did not expect, but the destination itself is sure. You are headed somewhere significant. These declarations are now spoken over you from the throne room of heaven. They are backed by all of my authority and all of my power. Let them settle into your spirit and become the truth you build your life upon. I want to remind you of something as we close. This message is not the end of our conversation. It is an invitation to ongoing dialogue. I am not a God who speaks once and then disappears. I am a God who wants daily relationship with you. I want to speak to you in the quiet moments. I want to guide you in decisions both big and small. I want to be your constant companion, not just someone you hear from occasionally. So keep listening. Keep your heart open. Keep making space for me in your daily life. The more you practice my presence, the more natural it becomes. The more you tune your ear to my voice, the easier it is to hear. This is a relationship that deepens over time through consistent attention and response. Some of my most important words to you will not come in dramatic moments like this one. They will come in quiet whispers, in subtle impressions, in gentle nudges that redirect your path. These small communications are just as important as the big messages. Pay attention to them. Respond to them. They are how I guide you through the details of daily life. I am invested in every aspect of your existence. There is nothing too small to bring to me and nothing too large for me to handle. I care about your major life decisions, and I care about your daily struggles. I care about your spiritual growth, and I care about your practical needs. Bring it all to me. Keep nothing back. Let our relationship touch every area of your life. Remember, I have been working while you were unaware. I am working now, and I will continue to work until every single thing I have promised comes to pass. Your part is to trust, to obey, and to stay in relationship with me. My part is everything else, now and forever. Amen. If this message touched your heart, I want to invite you to do something meaningful. Share it with someone who needs to hear these words. You never know who is struggling, who is ready to give up, who is one message away from breakthrough. Your act of sharing could be the answer to their prayer. Take a moment to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. There are more messages coming, messages specifically designed for what you will face in the days ahead. Leave a comment below, sharing which part of this message spoke most deeply to your situation. Your testimony might encourage someone else who is facing the same battle. God bless you, and I will see you in the next message.